Alright, everybody. Big spoilers in this one. I am going to do the How I Met Your Mother last episode, the series finale, because I know a lot of people were upset by it. But I want to warn you, big spoilers. Lots and lots of spoilers. So don't come crying to me when you're caught off guard by the spoilers. Because they're spoilers. A few more spoilers. Okay, so I want to start off by saying How I Met Your Mother was a great show. I loved it right up until the middle of the fourth season. I think the introduction of Britney Spears as a guest recurring character I didn't like, but I was willing to live with, but that was when I felt the story stopped going places, and instead of having a love story where Ted finds the love of his life, we have crazy stories loosely tied together that have nothing to do with anything that no sane man would ever tell his children. Okay, so I'm going to start with my first big spoiler. Remember, spoilers. I warned you. Seriously, we have 3 seasons of Barney and Robin's wedding. 3 seasons of them building up this wedding, and the marriage doesn't last a half an episode. It lasts like the last 10-15 minutes of the wedding episode, and the first 10-15 minutes of the next episode, and it lasted 3 years in this magical time that they had. And it breaks up for the stupidest reason. They break up and get a divorce because they can't stand to be apart from each other. That's... I don't... Just crap. One, we were all rooting for Robin and Barney. At least a big group of the fan base. I think they worked well together, and yes, it for the person Barney is and the person Robin is, the marriage doesn't work. So if you weren't going to have it work, don't have them get married. The divorce thing and Barney going back to being all over women until, next spoiler, he has a kid of his own, and then that being the magical thing that changed him. Just have him have the kid with some random girl. Don't have the whole marriage muddle up everything. Okay, so the last episode itself is kind of a flash forward mixed with flashbacks, and then flashbacks of things we haven't seen before because we're forward in time, but then we're backwards in time. It's disjointed, which, to its credit, is kind of how people tell stories, especially the narrator that we've come to know and love, which is Bob Saget, one of the funniest men alive, and did Full House for years without killing himself. That's an amazing feat. And we're robbed of it. It finally turns on Ted telling the kids the story at the end of the episode. Well, not the end. The climax of the episode turns, and it's not Bob Saget. And I would have even been okay with it being that actor who plays Ted Mosby, except that they didn't do a Bob Saget voiceover. So it suddenly went from the narrator's voice, which we love and got used to and enjoyed, to being the D-bag that we had stopped liking by the end of the 3rd season because the love stories never went anywhere. Alright, so we get the love story with the mother, and we get him finally meeting the mother, and too little too late. Don't get me wrong, she's very attractive, uh, very pretty woman. Not who we've been waiting 7 years for. And I get that, the love of your life doesn't necessarily have to be the most gorgeous woman ever, as long as she's the most gorgeous woman ever to you. But, okay, so all that build up, and biggest spoiler ever, it's seriously coming up, guys. Huge spoiler. If you haven't seen it, stop watching the video. Stop it. Stop it right now. The mother's flipping dead! Just dead! Why? Why did we sit through 7+ years, and then all the years of future Ted narrating everything, to have the mother die? She's dead. No other way to say it. It was a huge fan screw. And here's the kicker. They needed her to die because all of this was not Ted telling them the story of how he met their mother. It was him symbolically asking permission for him to date Robin from his children. The mother's been dead for 6 years. The kids are okay with him moving on, and they want him to be with Aunt Robin because the whole story is about how much he loved Aunt Robin. And the ending, it's a rehash of the scene with him with the blue French horn in the window. This would have been a really freaking cute ending. Really gorgeously cute ending 3 or 4 years ago. As it was, we were so sick of Ted going after Robin that when you did it in the marriage episode with Barney and Robin, we wanted to throw something through the TV. Now, I'm not saying everybody did. I'm using me, or we as me. But seriously, I was so sick of it by the 3rd season. We had the 1st season. He pined after, didn't work. We had the 2nd season. They dated. It was cool, but they realized they didn't work together. 3rd season, he's being cool. And then the wild and crazy season where he's supposed to be a guy and discovering himself doesn't even get all the way through that before he's like, I want to be with Robin. I need to be with Robin. Robin's my love of my life. And we would have been okay with that if he met the mother. We had a long 4th season with his courtship with the mother. They actually get married because you take the marriage crazy Ted Mosby, and have him have illegitimate children with this woman, date her for 5 years, and then not get married. No, in the show, when she came up to him and said, we can't get married in September because I want to fit in my wedding dress, marriage crazy Ted Mosby wouldn't go, oh, well, let's just put it off. Married crazy Ted Mosby would be, let's get married Tuesday. That's it. He'd just say, we're getting married. And they'd be married. And we'd be fine with that. That would have been wonderful. And then have the poetic death. And him respecting his children and not wanting to date too soon. And then having them tell him that he's in love with Robin. All of that would have been fine if we didn't have another 2 or 3 seasons of random crap happening that no way furthered the plot. And really, that last scene, what is wrong with Robin's hair? It is so ugly and not what she would have had. But the hair is all bad, guys. Apparently at 40 or sometime in the future, we all have to start striping our hair with bad costume makeup hair stuff. That's just what the fashion is going to be. Because that's all it takes to make an old guy in this show. Bad stripes. And Robin becoming a famous news anchor took us out of reality. And yes, the rest of the show had a lot of stuff that took us out of reality, but not being from New York, I was willing to believe she was on local station, and we never heard of her because she was in Canada before, and local station now, and so not being from New York, I was okay with her not being the most famous person. It made the show a little bit more real. But you know what? It was a cute show. It jumped the shark, went on way too long after it jumped the shark, and so we were never going to be satisfied with the end. The ending was always going to be lackluster. So, again, the first 3.5 seasons, wonderful show. The first 2 seasons, one of the best shows I've ever seen. But after that, I don't know. I might do a follow-up video where I find the episodes you absolutely need to see because there are some good parts, some clips that come out of it. Marshall's father's death is one of the most touching television moments that I've seen in a long time. And you don't take a man's you don't take a man's unintentional curly. That's a hilarious bit that again would have been a lot funnier 3 or 4 years ago. So that's my rambling. I agree with everybody. The ending sucked, but I don't think we should dismiss the whole show for a bad ending or for a bad couple of seasons. You know what? I still like the show, and again, I'm gonna watch it. Give you guys episode guides that should work. But for now, I think you can skip it. Wait until you get an essential episodes to see things you need to know, and then just let it go. Remember, guys, in the future, white stripes.